The world of Colombian cartels has been portrayed in documentaries, news headlines, and crime dramas as a ruthless empire built on power, loyalty, and fear. From the era of the Medellín Cartel under Pablo Escobar to the strategic operations of the Cali Cartel, these organizations operated with structure, hierarchy, and ruthless discipline. But behind the violence and headlines lies a ladder. No one starts at the top. Every powerful boss once stood at the bottom. This is what it might feel like to climb through every level of that hidden world. Level 1. At the lowest level, you are barely a member, not officially, not formally. You are simply useful. They give you a phone, a corner, a simple instruction: watch. You are young, maybe 12 or 13, old enough to understand when the electricity bill is overdue, old enough to notice when your mother skips meals so you can eat. Too young to fully understand the system you just stepped into, but old enough to understand money. And this money is more than your family has ever seen at one time. The older guys don't explain much, they don't need to. They tell you what cars to pay attention to, what uniforms matter, what behavior looks wrong. They also tell you what happens if you fall asleep on the job. That part is explained very clearly. Your job is simple. If police pass by, you call. If soldiers patrol, you call. If strangers linger, you call. If a car circles the block twice, you call. You don't ask questions, you don't hesitate. You don't assume something is probably nothing, because in this world, probably nothing can turn into everything in seconds. You don't enter the house behind you. You don't see the product being packaged. You don't know the routes or the names of the men inside. You only know that what's happening in there is worth more than everything your family owns combined. Your entire purpose is to give them 30 seconds of warning, 30 seconds to scatter, 30 seconds to disappear through back doors you pretend not to know exist. 30 seconds that could mean the difference between escape and prison. Most days, nothing happens. Hours pass slowly. The sun moves across the sky. Your legs ache from standing. You scroll through your phone, but never too deeply. You must always look up, always scan, always be ready. At this stage, loyalty is tested through endurance. There are no bonuses, no praise, no congratulations. If nothing happens, that means you did your job. If something happens and you miss it, that means you failed. Pressure becomes constant. You start noticing how the neighborhood reacts to you. Some people stop making eye contact. Store owners who used to greet you now speak less. Mothers pull their children closer when you're nearby. Word travels fast in places like this. Your family senses it too. They don't ask directly. They just notice the new shoes, the groceries paid in cash, the way you leave the house earlier and come back later. Your mother may cry quietly at night, thinking you don't hear her. But the money keeps coming. Bills get paid. The refrigerator stays full. Your younger siblings start smiling more. And that's how it justifies itself. At first you tell yourself, this is temporary, just until things get better, just until your family is stable, just until you're older. But something shifts slowly. Standing on that corner every day changes you. You become more observant, more cautious. You learn how to read body language. You can tell the difference between a lost tourist and an undercover officer by the way they stand, the way their eyes scan windows instead of storefronts. You are no longer just a kid. You are part of something structured, something organized, something powerful. And even though you are the lowest ranks, the smallest piece, you begin to feel connected to that power. Because when your phone rings and a voice on the other end says, "Good," after your warning, you understand something clearly. For 30 seconds, everyone inside that house depended on you. And in a life where you once felt invisible, that feeling is dangerously addictive. Level 2, the courier carrying risk. If you prove reliable, you move up. Not with a ceremony, not with a handshake, just with a new instruction and a heavier responsibility. Now you carry product. It might be sealed tight inside a backpack between school books you no longer read. It might be taped beneath a car seat, hidden inside panels, packed carefully beneath layers of perfectly ordinary items meant to distract attention. Groceries, tools, spare parts. Everything arranged to look boring, forgettable. You are told the route, the time, the drop location, nothing more. You walk toward checkpoints pretending your heart is not racing. You rehearse your story in your head even if no one asks questions. You practice looking relaxed, casual, almost bored. Soldiers glance at you and look away. Officers wave you through. You are chosen because you look harmless, young, quiet, normal, and that is your greatest weapon. The first time, your palms sweat so badly you worry they'll notice. You imagine every possible outcome: handcuffs, interrogation rooms, your family finding out. You feel like everyone can see the weight in your bag, even though it's invisible. But nothing happens. You make the drop. A short nod, a handoff, an envelope of cash pressed into your hand. No gratitude, just business. You walk away alive. The second run feels slightly easier. The third feels almost controlled. By the sixth, you begin to adjust. Your breathing stays steady. Your hands don't shake. You stop imagining worst-case scenarios at every corner. Every successful delivery builds your confidence. Money starts coming faster. Your clothes improve. People in the neighborhood notice. Other kids your age work long hours for almost nothing. You make more in a week than they make in months. You begin to believe something dangerous, that you are smarter than the system, that you understand the risks better than others, that you know how to avoid getting caught, untouchable, invisible. But beneath that growing confidence, a quieter realization forms. You start noticing how little information you're given, how easily you could be replaced, how, if something goes wrong, the people above you will distance themselves instantly. If you get stopped, it's your name in the report, your face in the photograph, your life on hold. No one above you falls, only you do. That truth settles slowly, but it never fully leaves. Still, you keep going, because the money solves real problems, because the respect feels real, because stepping back now would mean returning to a life that suddenly feels smaller than before. At this level, fear becomes routine. You wake up with it, you walk with it, you sleep beside it. And when fear becomes routine, something shifts inside you. Your body adapts, your mind adjusts. Danger stops feeling extraordinary. It starts feeling normal. Level 3, the Sicario, becoming enforcement. This is where everything changes. Up until now, you were carrying risk. Now, you are the risk. You are no longer just moving product from one place to another. You are protecting the organization directly, not with information, not with transportation, but with force. As a Sicario, your role is clear: enforce rules, eliminate threats, send messages that don't need repeating. There is no long speech when you're given your first assignment, just a photo, a name, a location, a time frame. The instructions are short because they don't need to be long. The first time is the hardest, not because you doubt the order. By now you understand how the system works. You know what happens to informants, to rivals, to those who cross lines. The hardest part is physical. Your hand doesn't feel steady. Your breathing feels too loud. Your senses are sharp in a way that almost overwhelms you. Every sound feels amplified. Every second stretches longer than it should. Your mind has already accepted what must happen. Your body takes longer to catch up. Afterward, there is no celebration, no dramatic moment, just silence. You leave. You dispose of what needs to be disposed of. You wait for confirmation. When the phone buzzes with a simple message, done or good, you understand you have crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. The second assignment feels different. You prepare better. You think through angles, escape routes, timing. Your hands shake less. By the third, something inside you has adjusted. Planning becomes mechanical. Execution becomes controlled. You learn to observe patterns when the target leaves home, who they meet, how they move. You begin thinking in terms of efficiency, speed, precision. You receive photos, names, locations, deadlines. There are no explanations anymore. You stop asking why. You stop needing to know. In this world, information is layered. The less you know beyond your task, the safer you are, and the safer they are. You learn a harsh truth quickly. Being effective keeps you alive. If you succeed, you are rewarded. Money increases. Your status rises within the organization. People speak your name with caution. Some with admiration, others with fear. Fear becomes your reputation. But something else disappears quietly in the process. You begin to separate yourself emotionally from what you do. It's no longer personal, it's procedural, a task, a function. Emotional distance becomes necessary because carrying weight would slow you down. Sympathy becomes weakness. Hesitation becomes risk. You notice how your reactions change. News of violence doesn't shock you the way it once did. Conversations about consequences feel distant. You compartmentalize everything: work in one box, family in another. You may buy your mother a better house. You may tell her you work construction, security, something respectable. She may not fully believe you, but she doesn't ask. Comfort replaces curiosity. You are valued now, trusted with serious responsibilities, but you are also fully aware of the truth. There are others training below you, watching you, learning. In this structure, no one is irreplaceable. You are feared, you are respected, you are necessary, for now. Level 4, the Plaza, boss controlling territory. Promotion now brings responsibility rather than freedom. You are no longer acting alone. You are managing people, and people are more complicated than product, routes, or weapons. You oversee a neighborhood, maybe several streets, maybe a block that the organization considers yours. This territory is not marked on official maps, but everyone inside it knows who controls it. Lookouts report to you. Couriers answer to you. Sicarios carry out your decisions when enforcement is required. Your job shifts from action to management. You collect payments that maintain the structure. You ensure that money flows upward smoothly. You make sure workers below you are paid enough to stay loyal, but not so much that they forget who is in charge. Most of your time is now spent solving problems before they reach higher leadership. A family cannot pay their debt. 3 weeks overdue. You know the rules. Pay or suffer consequences. But you also know the father became sick and cannot work. You could order punishment. Broken legs would send a message. Fear keeps systems stable. Or you could extend the deadline, increase interest slightly, and keep the family productive. You think carefully before making the call. 2 more weeks, not kindness, not weakness, strategy. Because leadership in this world is balance. Too much brutality creates rebellion. People begin hiding, resisting, or working against you in silence. Too much mercy creates another problem. People start thinking rules are negotiable. Respect disappears. Authority weakens. You learn to speak in measured tones, not loud, not emotional. Commands are given calmly because confidence itself becomes a weapon. You also start dealing with corruption outside the organization. Police officers may receive weekly envelopes. Local officials may look the other way. Some relationships are built on fear, others on financial dependence. You understand that control is not maintained only through violence, but through networks of obligation. Every decision affects dozens of lives. If you punish someone publicly, people remember. If you forgive someone publicly, people remember too. So you choose moments carefully. Territory becomes personal. The streets you control start feeling like extensions of yourself. You notice who sells without permission, who tests boundaries by moving product in the south edge without approval. Your phone rings, new crew, unauthorized activity. This is not just business, this is challenge. You get into an SUV with 2 armed men, not for intimidation alone, but to send a clear message that the structure is still intact. Because in this world, territory is never granted, it is held. And the moment you stop defending it, even for a little while, someone else will take it. Control in this stage is not about showing power constantly. It is about making sure people believe power is always there, even when it is not visibly shown. Level 5. The cartel operator, moving millions. At this stage, you stop touching the streets. You wear suits, you sit in offices, you manage businesses that look legitimate: construction companies, restaurants, export firms. Your job is not violence, it is transformation. You turn illegal profits into clean money. Agencies like the Drug Enforcement Administration monitor companies like yours. Investigations begin quietly. You learn about them through contacts inside the system, so you move fast. Close companies, open new ones, shift assets internationally. You become indispensable because you understand the financial web better than anyone else. But knowing too much is dangerous. You are protected as long as you are useful. And in this world, usefulness has an expiration date. Level 6. The regional chief commanding the network. Now you oversee cities. Plaza bosses report to you. Distribution routes stretch across borders. Production facilities operate under your coordination. This is no longer street crime, it is corporate-level logistics. When a shipment disappears, you investigate. Was it bad information, corruption, betrayal? You do not shout, you observe. You understand that leadership at this level is psychological. One example made publicly can restore order faster than endless meetings. You have climbed high enough that mistakes are fatal, but not high enough to be safe. Level 7, the lieutenant, power without freedom. You sit near the top, not at the head of the table, but close enough that your words shape decisions. You negotiate with rival groups. You manage wars and alliances. Intelligence agencies know your name. Your image circulates in briefings. There may be a reward for your capture. Security surrounds you constantly. You live in guarded compounds. Movement is controlled. Public appearances are rare. Power grows. Freedom disappears. At this level, every conversation is strategic. Every sentence could shift loyalty or spark conflict. You no longer fear poverty. You fear betrayal. Level 8. The cartel boss, the myth at the top. You built an empire, from street corners to international routes, from small shipments to tons, from neighborhood influence to political pressure. Like figures such as Pablo Escobar, Carlos Later, and Miguel Rodriguez Orejuela, you command networks that span continents. Your face is rarely seen. Some question whether you are real. That mystery protects you. Raids happen, arrests happen, shipments are seized, but the machine continues. Still, history teaches one lesson clearly. No one escapes the ending. Prison, betrayal, assassination, time. Late at night, when everything is quiet, you remember standing on a corner with a phone in your hand. You climbed every rank. You earned every scar. You control everything until you don't. Climbing through the ranks of a Colombian cartel may look powerful from the outside. Wealth increases, authority expands, influence grows. But every promotion takes something in return. At the bottom, you lose innocence. In the middle, you lose empathy. At the top, you lose freedom. And in the end, the system continues with or without you. The story of power in this world is not only about money or control, it is also about sacrifice, pressure, and consequences that slowly shape who you become. If you like this kind of deep, cinematic, and psychological content, please do us a favor, subscribe, like, and share our video so more people can explore these stories. Your support helps us create more content like this.